Hi, I'm Rachel McDonough, and welcome to the Stewardship Culture Workshop. One of the things that we've seen over the years working with clients is that it's very easy for us to jump to how and start thinking of tactical strategies, ways to optimize the portfolio or save money on taxes without taking time to thoroughly investigate what matters and why. The stewardship culture exercises are designed to give you that pause to slow down a second. Think deeply. If you're married, communicate with your spouse and think through some of the deeper questions about why it all matters. So, we're going to invite you to go through a vision exercise, a mission exercise, help you think through your values, both individually and as a couple if you're married, and then come up with your own definition of success and consider what impact themes are most important to you. These are deep, heart level conversations, of course, and we're honored when clients decide to invite us into those conversations. We also know that it could be a little uncomfortable for some of them. And so, if this is a conversation you prefer to have privately at home, that's also fine. We just want to serve you in whatever way that we can and help you get more clear on what matters and why, and then align your resources accordingly so that your wealth becomes fuel for your purpose. Proverbs 29:18 reminds us that without vision, people will cast off restraint. And it makes sense, doesn't it? We don't really naturally, as humans, love to have structure and self control and discipline unless we're clear that it's for a good reason. An ideal vision statement is a way for us to capture it in just a few words. What is the ideal desired future state that I want to work towards? Something that's motivational and will help me stay the course and help me be disciplined in the way that I handle my finances or even the way that I steward my time. This should be a statement that is impossible without God. It should be direction setting, and it should definitely be exciting, something that causes us to feel joy and the energy that will motivate us to keep going. Let me give you a few examples. Every generation serving Christ. That's a sample family vision statement. Here's another one. Planting and watering seeds for eternity. You can see they have this air of importance and hope and aspiration to them. Here are a couple more. God's kingdom growing bigger forever. Or how about this one? Always mighty in the land. Forever remember to serve and love as a family. We can use these small statements, maybe just 5 to 7 words, so that they're easy to remember. And don't obsess over getting it perfect because you can always revise it later. Just because it's your vision statement doesn't mean it can never change as you get more clear and more focused. And then the last thing I wanted to offer is if you have a hard time putting together 5 to 7 really succinct words, we can do that with you. So our team would be happy to, if you just want to kind of brainstorm and write out a bunch of different phrases, we can go through and help you sort of select what are those most important words and then put them together into one vision statement. Also, for our AI users, if you typed in 10 different phrases into an AI tool and asked it to summarize for you in 5 to 7 words, I bet you'd get some pretty good sample vision statements just using AI to organize your thoughts. Anyway, all that to say, I know it can be a little intimidating to come up with a vision statement. It feels so weighty and important. But we do need to know what we're targeting. We need to know what we're going after. And getting clear on some simple version of a family vision statement, or if you're not married, just a personal vision statement, can be really wonderful and foundational as you set out on your stewardship journey. Now that we have our vision statement, which is future oriented, it's time to think about what we should be doing today in order to make that future vision a reality. That's where your mission statement comes in. A mission statement is what a family or an individual must do in order to achieve the vision. Now, we've already said that the vision we chose is impossible unless God Himself shows up. But there's this element of co-laboring. Some things are God's job, some things are our job. The mission statement is our job. What can we be doing in daily rhythms and practices? What do we want to make sure that we teach? What habits do we want to pass on to our kids? It's the kind of statement that we might say, oh, like mom and dad always said. What is it that we want to always be saying in front of our children and future generations? Now, Deuteronomy 6:6 gives a wonderful context for how this works in family life. It reads like this: These words that I command you today shall be on your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise. What is it that we want to always be doing? Here are some examples from the best teacher of all time, Jesus Himself. I'm going to paraphrase a few of these for you to turn them into short mission statements. Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. Love God and love people. Ask, seek, knock. Those are great, simple phrases that help us remember what it is that is our job in this whole thing called life. Now, here are a few questions that will help us frame what it is that you want to identify for your personal or family mission statement. First of all, what kind of a person or family do you want to be? What do you want to accomplish in your daily rhythms? What values and principles are going to guide your actions? Take a few minutes and write down whatever it is that you come up with. And again, don't worry, we can refine and edit these down later. Just for now, just take a few minutes to brainstorm and capture some thoughts. Our personal values come from what we believe is true. They represent our hope for the future and the hope for what kind of people we want to become. It will probably be hard to narrow down to 5 on this list because a lot of things might stand out to you as being your part of your core values. But if you can come up with just your top 5, and then also if you're married, have your spouse come up with their top 5, I think you're going to see that there are some interesting overlaps where you have some of the same core values, and that probably explains why you married each other in the first place. You also may find, however, that you have some individual values that are different and distinct from each other. It's a great opportunity to build on the common strength of those common values, and then also leave room to honor your differences and the things that make you unique individuals. I also want to encourage you that if you don't see quite the right word here, or if you have a special word that really stands out to you and you don't see it on our list, we can customize a slide or two to make sure that your values are showing up in words that are meaningful to you, because the words that we use matter. You've already gotten clear on your vision statement, your mission statement, and you've articulated your values. The next step is to think for a moment about your own personal definition of success. You see, it's all too easy to get caught up in someone else's definition of success for us, whether that's maybe an employer who's giving us a promotion to work towards, and we end up climbing the ladder only to discover, wow, I feel like I don't have a lot of time to do the things I'm passionate about. My health is beginning to suffer. My relationships are suffering. Or it could be that it's a family member that has a definition of success that they would like to see you accomplish. We need to live for the audience of one. And that's the key to really living an authentic and satisfying life, is getting to that point where the only one that we're really trying to please is God. Micah 6:8 is a beautiful verse. It says, He has shown you, O mortal, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. When you get to that point of really living for the audience of one, it does a few beautiful things in your life. First of all, it frees you up from anyone else's expectations that have been put on you. But secondly, it gives you the opportunity to live a no regrets, clear and confident life and have that satisfying life that can only come from pursuing that truest definition of success. So we've already kind of said it maybe comes more from living for the audience of one, but let me give you a couple of sample definitions of success and you take and make into your own words. But here's mine. Hearing, well done, good and faithful servant. I might not have the biggest, most successful business in the world. I might not be able to say that all of my kids have made perfect choices. But what I really care about, what I think is the most important definition of success for me, is hearing Jesus say, well done, good and faithful servant. Another example could be listening and loving well. Or how about this one? Working diligently, but trusting God with the outcomes. It's important when we define success that we're careful not to attach success to things that are beyond our control, like the outcomes. So I mentioned earlier, our hopes for our children is such an important thing. And I've heard people say before, my definition of success is that all of my children will be walking in the truth. Well, that would be a wonderful outcome. But unfortunately, there's this thing in our family members' lives called free will, where they get to make their own choices. And that's how God designed life to be. So we have to be careful that we're focusing on the things we can do and not focusing on things that are outside of our control. Another instance there would be if I was really passionate about solving human trafficking. I couldn't be responsible for the outcomes of that by myself. It's a problem that's too big for me to solve. So I have to focus on the things that I can do, the things that are within my control, and what do I think the Lord is requiring of me? And that should be my definition of success. Another helpful thing as you're considering how you want to define your success is picture relationships. What do you want loved ones to feel and remember about you? For example, I made them feel seen, heard, valued, and loved. Or maybe just taking a moment to check for alignment. If I live this way, according to this definition of success, how am I going to feel at the end of my life looking back? Am I going to feel deeply satisfied, or is there any room for regret? The last step on this exercise, I just want to invite you to consider, after you take time to define success, also give yourself one more minute to reflect. Is there anything I want to stop pursuing because it really was someone else's definition of success for me, and it somehow got internalized as something that I thought I needed to do, but it really doesn't matter? So defining success and then giving yourself permission to say, oh, here are some things I can stop pursuing because they were never really my true definition of success anyway. Take a few minutes. Now that you're clear on your vision, mission, and values and your personal definition of success, it's time to think about impact themes. Once you know that through your financial planning process, you've addressed adequately the provision needs of your family, both now and in the future, it's really time to focus more intentionally on what positive impact you want to see in the world. Now, whether it's through a trip to Haiti or maybe journeying with a loved one through cancer, each of us have these experiences in our past that ignite passion in a certain area within our hearts. This is where we want to say, okay, whether it's through giving or through impact investing, these are the key areas where I hope that I can make a difference with the way that I use the capital that's been entrusted to me.